The hum of Nexus Prime was less a sound and more a physical vibration, a relentless, industrial thrum that rattled the bones. Here, amidst the screech of hyperdrives and the guttural clash of 1,000 alien dialects, isolation was a paradox. One could be surrounded by millions yet remain utterly, devastatingly alone. Selena knew this silence well. With skin the color of twilight and eyes like polished silver, she carved a path through the throng, a Myrian princess walking in a bubble of fear. To the masses, she was the destroyer of worlds, a living weapon to be shunned. It is a peculiar cruelty of our nature that we often demonize what we do not understand, turning tragic figures into monsters to justify our own terror. But then, the pattern broke. A young man named Kai, driven by a compassion that seemed almost reckless in such a hard-bitten galaxy, stepped into her path. He didn't flinch. His eyes, warm and brown, held curiosity rather than judgment. He offered her passage on his ship, the Stargazer, not because he was ignorant of the rumors, but because he believed that stories rarely contain the whole truth. On board the sleek, well-loved vessel, the air felt lighter. As they drifted toward the sanctuary of the Outer Rim, Selena's walls began to crumble. She spoke of Telos Fo not as a villain, but as a victim of her own uncontrollable power. She recounted the bounty hunters, the panic, and the accidental cataclysm that leveled a city. It is a heavy thing to carry the ghosts of the innocent. Yet Kai offered not condemnation, but a simple, steady hand. Peace, however, is often just a breath between storms. The blare of proximity alarms shattered their quiet. Consortium ships, hungry for the bounty on Selena's head, dropped out of warp, their weapons tearing at the Stargazer's shields. Panic surged, and with it, Selena's volatile energy. But Kai remained the eye of the hurricane, his trust in her absolute. Anchored by his belief, she attempted the impossible, a temporal bubble. But she didn't just slow time. She folded the very fabric of the cosmos. When the universe snapped back into focus, the enemy was gone, replaced by the unfamiliar, diamond-hard starlight of the Andromeda galaxy. They had traveled 2 million light-years in a heartbeat. Yet the universe had not finished with them. A swirling vortex, violent and kaleidoscopic, swallowed their ship, dragging them beyond the veil of physics into the Nexus, a library of existence that sat between realities. Here, amidst floating fragments of broken timelines and impossible landscapes, they met the Custodian. A shifting entity of ancient wisdom, the Custodian revealed a destiny far grander than mere survival. Selena was a key to reality's fabric. Kai, with his unshakable spirit, was the anchor. They were binary stars, destined to orbit and amplify one another. For months, time lost its meaning as they trained within the Nexus. Selena learned to weave galaxies from dust, mastering the creative force she once feared. Kai learned that his power lay in resilience, in the ability to inspire hope where none existed. They were being forged for a war they didn't yet understand. That understanding arrived with the chilling name Void Eaters. Entities of pure negation, these cosmic predators were not merely destroying worlds. They were unmaking existence itself, consuming the past, present, and future until only silence remained. Thrust through a portal to the front lines, they emerged on the bridge of the Multiversal Defense Fleet's flagship. Admiral Zara, a being shimmering with stellar light, welcomed them not as refugees, but as saviors. The situation was dire. The Void Eaters were a tidal wave of nothingness, crashing against the fleet's failing shields. Conventional weapons were useless against a foe that devoured reality. The strategy was desperate and terrifying. Channel the collective life force of the entire fleet through Kai into Selena to forge a shield of pure existence. As the darkness surged, threatening to extinguish the stars, Kai took Selena's hands. The energy of thousands of souls poured into them, a roaring river of fear, courage, and desperate hope. It was agonizing, but in that maelstrom they found their center. The bond they had built, the trust that had started with a simple offer of a ride, became the lens for infinite power. A sphere of blinding radiance erupted from the Stargazer, a holy fire of creation that slammed into the Void Eaters. Where the light touched, the darkness didn't just retreat. It ceased to be. The predators were unmade, scattered into harmless dust across the dimensions. In the quiet that followed, the victory felt fragile, surreal. They had saved not just a world, but the multiverse. Admiral Zara and the fleet hailed them as heroes, but it was the custodian who offered the true reward and the true burden. The role of guardians of the multiverse was laid before them. It was a call to wander the infinite, to protect the delicate balance of realities. Looking out at the sea of stars, endless and inviting, Selena realized she was no longer running. The fear that had defined her life had been replaced by purpose. She looked at Kai, the engineer who had seen the woman beneath the monster, and smiled. They accepted the mantle. As they stepped through a new portal, ready to heal a fractured reality, the universe seemed to hold its breath in anticipation. They were no longer just a fugitive and a pilot. They were the shield and the spark, ready to face the infinite together. In the end, perhaps we are all just searching for that one person who makes the vast, terrifying dark feel a little like home.